Hi, everybody. I'm Judy, the YouTube lawyer. Today's episode has to do with something slightly different, which is another YouTube channel called Beyond Evil. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about it, but they're kind of on my bad list, bad zone now, because of what they've done regarding the case of Robert Wone. Now, that video has already been taken down. Yes, I did report it. And one of their ardent supporters actually had the nerve to come onto my channel and call me scum because I had reported their video and YouTube took it down. So apparently, somebody, at least one person, maybe more, are pretty upset with me because I am watching out for content creators as well as people who go through a lot of trouble, production companies who spend lots of money putting together their documentaries and videos only to have it ripped off by people such as the ones behind Beyond Evil. So let's take a look at this channel. Even other YouTubers such as Mentor Lawyer from Deep Dive True Crime have mentioned this, that it is kind of frustrating when you see these much bigger channels giving out not only misinformation, but also possibly ripping off things that were created by other people for their own benefit. So let's take a look. This is their channel main page. They also have another channel called Beyond Evil Podcast. Not really sure what the difference is or why they decided to split it into two different channels. So it looks very, very professional. You know, you have to give them credit that clearly they have put in some work to deserve 724K subscribers. But you look at the community tab, and this is where someone named Jason, who's a narrator, is kind of feeling down and saying that, boy, you know, you can spend a lot trying to figure out how to play by YouTube's rules. Well, I don't think it should be that difficult for people to figure out that you don't create a video based 95% off of somebody else's production and then slap your name on it, upload it to your channel, and reap all the benefits here. So again, I find it kind of funny in a way that their supporters are also here telling them, well, your content is such wonderful work. You do such hard work. Everything looks good. I love your productions. Thank you for all your hard work. You're always giving us the best content. Well, surprise, because if you just scratch the surface, you'll realize most of that so-called best content is stuff that is taken from the works of other people, often professional videographers, professional production companies. So especially in the Robert Wone case, let me take this off the screen. You can see some more hateful comments coming my way where maybe somebody else will come back and call me scum again. Okay, so I don't make the laws, I don't make the YouTube rules, but if I see something that is violating YouTube policy, then I will gladly report it. Who Killed Robert Wone? This two-part documentary was made for Peacock TV by Jupiter Entertainment, and I was really happy about almost 2 years ago when the producers contacted me. They had seen some of my YouTube videos about Robert's case and wanted some information and just to talk about the case. And I was just so relieved and so glad that somebody out there actually wanted to know more about this horrible murder case that happened back in 2006. And unfortunately, the people that I believe killed Robert still have not spent a night in jail. So here you can see the IMDb page for it. Very, very well done documentary where they interviewed not only the main prosecutor, Glenn Kirshner, but also police officers, EMT, defense counsel. These are the guys behind the blog. They've appeared on one of my past live streams. So here you can see the footage that Beyond Evil just basically took, you know, where the actor who portrays Robert Wone is walking up to the building, to the house. And there's just like so much of that video that was basically taken away from this documentary. So it is pretty disturbing if you've seen the documentary to then see the Beyond Evil video where they just snagged all the footage and did their own little summary of the case, which again, you know, was most likely thanks to all this research done by the people behind this documentary. I don't work for this company. I'm not an employee of Peacock TV or NBC or the production company, but it is so obvious when you watch this documentary followed by the Beyond Evil video, which thankfully has been removed from YouTube, for copyright violations and violations of YouTube's policy, you'll see that the bulk of the information presented was just taken away from somebody else's hard work and efforts. So I'll remove that from the screen. I also wanted to mention while I'm here talking about Beyond Evil that I do have another video here where this was from a few months ago, where I pointed out all the errors that Beyond Evil had made when they were talking about the Dan Markel case. So you can still find it on my channel here. It's called Pointing Out Errors in a Beyond Evil podcast regarding Dan Markel case. So this took over an hour because I had a huge bunch of mistakes, misstatements, wrong impressions that I believe their video gave off, spreading misinformation about the murder of Dan Markel. And it's frustrating because that video that they did got at least 1 million views. So it's pretty amazing, but it's also sad that there can be so much misinformation passed out there from other sources that somehow get hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And again, that was also a sentiment recently echoed by Mentor Lawyer, who also has a true crime channel. He has getting close to, I think, 92,000 subscribers. So please check out Deep Dive True Crime. He also has a lot of integrity. He creates his own content. He's seen other YouTubers take things from his videos and the interrogations that he worked hard and display on his channel, but yet people basically stole his stuff and tried to create shorts or other videos about it without his permission. People might be wondering, well, how did you get to react to certain other things? Or how did you get to show Robert Wone's interrogation? That was thanks to getting permission from the person who actually put it up on YouTube, which is Craig in DC, Craig Brownstein's channel. So we've been in touch for many years about the Robert Wone case. So let's take this off the screen if anybody's interested in my longer live stream where I picked apart their Dan Markel video. And I'll just go ahead and run down this handy dandy list of mistakes that I saw in Beyond Evil's video, which was called The Wicked Story of Robert Wone. They said that the three guys at 1509 Swan Street, quote, even heard his screams, referring to Robert. That is totally false. I've been reading up on the Wone murder since 2007. I've also written a bunch of articles and blog posts about it. And I actually had the privilege of knowing Robert back when we were both law students working in DC one summer. So I've kind of made it a small mission, especially on this channel, to keep alive the information so that Robert won't be forgotten and so that people can learn more about the whole case. The video also refers to Joseph Price as Joseph Prince. That's a pretty egregious mistake. They talk about Sarah Ward, who was the other tenant who lived in a basement apartment at 1509 Swan Street, who happened to be gone that night that Robert was stabbed to death. But yet they showed an image of the actress who was playing Kathy Wone, Robert's wife, in the Peacock TV documentary. So that was kind of not fitting footage for what they were actually saying in the narration. Then it did kind of annoy me when I saw that several pictures that I had personally taken of Robert back in the summer of 1998 in DC. They were used, obviously, without my permission. I didn't give permission for Beyond Evil to use those photos. I only gave permission for Jupiter Entertainment and the company producing this official documentary to use my photographs. So there were several pictures where Robert is shown sitting at a desk with a computer monitor, and he's in the office. So I take credit for being the photographer of those photographs. It was originally going to be used for a fundraiser calendar that I was making for the Asian Pacific American Legal Resource Center that year. Then they say that Robert was going a few blocks from his office to Joe, Victor, and Dylan's home. That was incorrect. It was way more than a few blocks. Radio Free Asia, where Robert was working, was actually somewhere around M Street, closer towards George Washington. So that's why he took a cab to go to their house that night that he was killed. The video also said that the EMT arrives to see, quote, a hyperventilating Victor. That's totally false. Actually, what the EMT said was that Victor seemed very bizarre when he first walked up to the house. Victor was just talking on his cell phone, standing right outside the front door, and not seeming really concerned, and did not address him immediately or try to lead him up to where Robert was. The next error was, quote, Dylan comes from the bathroom. Okay, totally false. Dylan, according to the EMT person, was actually just coming out of the door to his own bedroom on the second floor. When the EMT person saw him, he just kind of moved aside and didn't say anything. Didn't seem to be freaked out, telling him, hey, here's Robert, he's stabbed, come help him, please help him, he's over here. That didn't happen. Instead, Dylan was actually coming from his own bedroom and in the doorway. He has no blood on his t-shirt. Totally false. In fact, I was actually at the trial back in 2010, and they did bring out the shirt, the William and Mary gray t-shirt that Robert was wearing when he was found, and there was clearly blood on the shirt. It wasn't totally saturated, but there were clear, like, stains of blood on the shirt. Okay, next quote was that supposedly Robert had a 50-minute commute to Oakton, Virginia. That again is false or misleading, because it definitely would have taken him a lot longer to get back to his home in Oakton, since he took the metro into DC for work. So by then, say after 10 p.m., he would have had to wait around quite a while for a metro train to arrive and switch trains to get on the Orange Line, possibly. Then ultimately, he would have had to figure out how to get from the end of the line, the Vienna metro station, to Oakton, possibly having to get his wife to drive out late at night to come and pick him up. So that was another error. They started talking about the trial back in 2010, where Judge Lynn Leibovitz was the judge who found the three men not guilty of conspiracy and tampering with the evidence and obstruction of justice. The video shows some sort of generic male judge pounding on the gavel. They just showed a man while talking about the verdict and didn't give the judge's name. So the judge was actually a woman. And then lastly, they misspelled Victor Zaborski's last name. It's really spelled with a Y, but they spelled it with an I. So, altogether, this was a shorter video. I would say it was probably about 40 minutes long. Again, mostly made up of footage from that Peacock TV documentary. And so I found roughly about 15 things wrong with it. So when you guys are choosing which channels to watch, if you're really into true crime, sometimes the channels with the most professionally produced things are the ones with the worst information. So be discerning about what channels you support. It is frustrating to see that a bunch of people out there on YouTube that are doing all sorts of screwy things, taking other people's information, other people's content. Obviously there are some things that are allowed, like reaction videos to some extent, and if you're just using a clip and adding your own commentary, of course, I don't purport to be a copyright attorney, and there is this attorney named Ian Corzine who has his own YouTube channel where he talks extensively about the copyright rules and rules for content creators on YouTube. So I encourage you to check out his channel, Ian Corzine. It's spelled Corzine. If you are someone on YouTube or thinking about doing YouTube and you want to make sure that your stuff doesn't get taken down for violating any sort of policies. So again, I would highly encourage people to tune in to this great documentary, Who Killed Robert Wone, while it's still available on the internet through Peacock TV, NBC. Someone told me that it was actually showing on Oxygen too. So people really worked hard to put this together. It's really an amazingly wonderful and gripping tale of what happened to Robert Wone and the different people involved in the case. And I do appear for maybe 2 seconds in it. It was kind of embarrassing seeing myself in it, but I was really happy and excited to take part in this, and really glad that the producers took the time and energy and funds to put this together to remember Robert Wone. Thanks for your support of this channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you at the next show.